This is Carol Vickers on behalf of Empower Consulting Group. We partner with Practice Pay Solutions to put on the eUniversity series webinars. As you know, Practice Pay Solutions provides wonderful solutions for businesses with credit card processing, website solutions, and building business strategies. This series of webinars is designed to assist you in growing your business. Today, we are delighted to bring you a marvelous resource, Jennifer Blair. Jennifer is a life coach, speaker, and writer. She's based in Louisville, Kentucky. In 2003, she founded Excavive Coaching and Consulting as a way to empower people, especially women, to pursue their passions, increase their self-confidence, communicate powerfully, and build the kind of lives they truly want to live. Jennifer's fierce commitment to her work focuses on personal and professional life coaching, creative and entrepreneurial consulting, inspirational speaking, writing, and occasionally teaching salsa dancing. Her lifelong leadership experiences, extensive coaches training through the Coaches Training Institute, and public speaking are making a difference in the lives of clients, audiences, and readers all over the nation. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with us today.
Thank you, Carol. I am thrilled to be here today. Really thrilled. Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I'd like to know what inspired you to become a life coach?
Well, I have been a coach. I'm going into my 9th year. Or actually, I'm in my 9th year. I'm going into my 10th year. And when I started this business, I had been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. I had been a volunteer mentoring women in different various organizations. I had been in the corporate world. I had really many different lives. And then I went through a divorce, and I found myself really having to rebuild myself, as well as look to the future of what's going to be next for me. I knew that I was going to go back to work, and I knew that I wanted to do something meaningful and something powerful. So when I became a coach, it was really this fierce commitment to empower women, especially women, to be the best versions of themselves. I looked at my divorce as an opportunity to grow and learn, and I looked around and saw so many people in front of me who really had lost sight of themselves or who were just struggling to make it through life. And so I wanted to go change the world one person at a time based on my own experiences and based on when I came across coaching. I thought it was just such an exciting modality. So when I started my business, I had a communications background. My degree is in advertising, and I was also the daughter of entrepreneurs. So I really and truly felt like I could do anything. Didn't always feel that way over the last 10 years, but certainly had this empowerment and confidence to start that, and also had always been around people who were very professional and created great images around what they did. So today, the topic that I'm sharing around authenticity and branding, in fact, the title, Excavate Your Authentic Self, 5 Ways to Create Your Brand, it really is about being who you are and projecting that into the world so that you create what you really want your business to be about, how you attract the right clients and reflect who you are in your business.
Well, why is authenticity so important, and how can it help you grow your business?
Well, first of all, I love this quote that I found from Emerson. It says, "Insist on yourself, never imitate." We often hear that imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but I believe that being yourself is really, there's so many wonderful aspects to that. You know, if you know who you are and you understand what's important to you, it allows you to discover the full expression of yourself, to experience love and joy, to feel that internal peace, and then align your actions, your internal and external worlds with everything that you do. It helps you create and be in your right livelihood. So many people say, wow, I wish I was really doing something I loved. I wish that I had more joy in my work. But it really, when you're authentic, it allows you to be in your right livelihood. It also lets you make a positive impact on others and then attract the people who need you. There's a big aspect of not only are you going to make that impact, you're going to find that the people are going to find you who need you. And then authenticity, knowing that authentic stuff, it allows you to be inspired and creative. And then the final point is that if you know who you are and you're living that, it allows you to sustain that and give yourself permission to have a very full and balanced life. So I think authenticity and really understanding why bother with being authentic, so many incredible benefits here. I love the definition of authenticity. I'm a big dictionary.com fan, and dictionary.com says that the definition of authenticity is the quality of being authentic. It's genuineness. And another quote that I found, and I promise I won't be giving quotes throughout this entire presentation, but I love the inspiration of others. Lance Secretan wrote this in the premiere issue of Motto magazine. And basically he said, authenticity is complete oneness in our thinking, speaking, feeling, and doing. It's head, mouth, heart, and feet all communicating and living the same message. And authenticity means listening to your conscience and acting on it, even when many voices around you are offering conflicting advice. So what I love about authenticity is that authenticity allows you to build trust with yourself and with others so that they can trust you. It's interesting as a coach, and I know that many of you on this, listening to this, many of you are coaches, some of you are in other businesses. But people hire coaches in particular to help them excavate who they are and then choose how they want to show up in the world. And as coaches, we are enlisted to offer our intuitive questioning, our experience, our creative solutions, sometimes our objective viewpoints, expansive ideas, really fierce accountability, and forward movement. And I know that from my own experience of being a coach, the more real and authentic I am with my clients, with my potential clients, it gives them permission to be authentic and real as well. I've built an entire business on really being who I am. And I walk the talk. People know it. They know that what you see is what you're going to get. And so by me learning to be very comfortable in my own skin and putting that image and that brand out there, my clients hire me because they want what I have. And that's part of what I want to share with you today is that there's so much opportunity out there for all of us. There are people who need what we have. And it's really important to give that right message out there in the world so that they know what they're getting. And I think there's a lot of brilliance in that. So helping people be comfortable in their own skins and being authentic and living that is really critical.
Very much so. Now, why is brand important?
Well, here's the bottom line. The bottom line with this is you're putting your brand out there whether you choose it or not. Think about this. The minute you walk into a company or into even to say a social gathering, you're walking in and people are seeing you, they're judging you, they're going, wow, she's a coach. They look at how you're dressed, they listen to how you talk and what you say about yourself. You're putting a brand out there whether you've chosen it or not. Every time you send out an email, you are sending out a message and a brand. Whether or not you're choosing that, you are putting a brand out there. So I believe that by claiming your brand, intentionally designing it, you are supporting what it is that you want to create with the thing you do. In other words, choose your brand and allow that to create a successful business very organically and authentically. And by doing so, you're going to be able to build success upon that. Your branding is your introduction into what you do. And we'll get into that. I'm going to show you lots of different ways in which I have created my brand and allowed it to expand my business. So in thinking about, so I want to get into branding and authenticity. So a few questions to think about. I'm a coach, so I can't help but put some questions and some inquiries out there for you. So a few questions to think about regarding you and your brand. Are you authentically living your purpose? Are you comfortable in your own skin and therefore able to create the impact you want in the world? Do you reflect who you truly are in the world, both personally and professionally? And the last question to think about is, do you have an intentional brand and a unique style that you can claim as yours? No matter where you are in your business today, whether you're just starting out or you've been in business for a while, I think it's important to revisit your brand, check in, think about, am I showing up authentically? Is my brand built from the inside out? Am I really projecting the image that I want to put out there in order to attract the right business for myself and allow it to grow me and to grow the business? So I have created 5 ways, or have come up with 5 ways in which you can create your brand. And this is what we're going to talk about, these 5 ways in detail today. The first is be true to who you are, and that's what all this authenticity that we've been discussing these first few minutes is about, is be true to who you are, know what your values are, and live those values. The second is authentic expression. Make sure that you're really putting a message out there that's true and authentic to you, and express that and find the right type of expression for you. The third is professional credibility. This is a topic this is an area that I feel very strongly about, especially as a coach, is to be professional, to show up as a professional in what you're doing. The fourth is the right client attraction, and the fifth is about expanding your platform. So we're going to start with be true to who you are and your values. Does your brand echo or mirror your own personal values? Do you even know what your values are? I hope if many of your coaches out there, you're aware of that. And for those of you who aren't, to really know your values, what's important to you, what is your essence? In my business, the first thing I do with my clients is I help them excavate their values. And this in front of you on the screen is a sampling of a list of traditional values and then how my clients have turned them into their own unique standards and values for who they are. So, for instance, as you can see on the screen, the topic of beauty. Beauty happens to be one of my values. Many people have named their value as sophisticated beauty or simple elegance, urban sass. So if that's one of your values, then make sure that if it's sophisticated beauty, that your materials are very sophisticated and beautiful in what you're putting out there. Like I said, beauty is important to me, so you'll see in my upcoming materials that I chose elements that represent beauty to me, such as pearls and shells, and created my materials very beautiful because that's a reflection of who I am. And with my clients, an example here, I have a client who, in all fairness, she has a design background, but when we did her values, she put them on a vision board to represent what's important to her. Energy, love, adventure, strength, confidence, freedom. These are images that reinforce who she is. And with her business and what she has created for herself, everything she does and everything she puts out there in the world aligns with these values. So your branding and your values and knowing who you are, it's going to keep you authentic. For me, it helps me align, my branding helps me align with my values, my beauty and my creativity. My branding reflects how I coach. When people see what my brand looks like, they get a sense that I'm inviting, I'm open, I'm feminine, I'm spiritual. There's a loving place, and hopefully there's some powerful aspects of that as well. The third thing that the branding does to keep me authentic is that it keeps the brand identity very consistent. We get to move through business in the years, and the authenticity and me being who I am, it keeps my brand really solid, and people know that brand. It deepens my authentic self, as I mentioned earlier. I walk the talk. People know that what you see is what you get, and I live that. My branding keeps me authentically, and it helps me connect to others who need to hear my message. Again, it's going to be part of that the right people are going to come to me. And one of the biggest things that my brand does for me, as you'll see with the involvement of my brand, it really inspires me to keep creating. I love it when I come up with an idea and then I put it into form and I create a new product or a new coaching exercise for someone. So my branding keeps me very, very authentic. So the next step is the expression of your brand, authentic expression. Charles Du Bois said, the important thing is to be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could become. I think that by grounding to your values and knowing who you are, and then starting to think about how do I want to express that in the world, there's something very divine about that. I think that your higher self gets revealed, and if you are aligned with your right livelihood, you're connected to who you are, and then you go express that in the world, there is divinity in that. And when you create your brand authentically, it becomes a vehicle to communicate your identity very holistically, effortlessly, and even spiritually if that's something that you believe in. But I think that expression, that authentic expression and the realness of it, it makes you believable if you're coming from the heart, if you're coming from your soul. So an example of my authentic expression, one of the pieces that I created, is my Excavive manifesto. This is something I created only about 4 or 5 years ago, but I noticed that I started to have sayings that were very similar. I would say things like, keep it simple to my clients. I'm a big believer in practice forgiveness. I would say to people, have fearless fierceness, be of service. These are just my my so-called Jennifer Blairisms that I started to say over the years, and people, I would have clients and they would come back to me and they would reflect back to me what I had said. So I gathered up all these mottos and sayings, and I put it into my Excavive manifesto, and this became a postcard that I send to my clients on their birthdays. So it reinforces, it lets me connect to them, say hello, remember them, and it reinforces all those truths and reminders to be who you are, uncover your authentic self, and remember to be that. So this was one of the pieces that I'm actually most proud of. I love this, and it keeps me inspired as well. So that authentic expression, I felt it was really important to really get into your brand. So I'm going to talk you through my brand a little bit here and what the meaning of this is for me. So the first thing you'll notice is my company name, Excavive. Well, Excavive means to excavate your life. I get lots and lots of questions. How do you pronounce that? What does that mean? And this was a very intentional thing. I wanted to create curiosity. I didn't want to be Jennifer Blair coach. I knew back in 2004 when I started this business that Excavive coaching would not be the only thing I would do. didn't know what else I would do. I knew that coaching would only be a piece of what I was creating. So I wanted to create an umbrella, so to speak. So Excavive would allow me to have this umbrella name. The first bucket in that umbrella, the first piece of that would be coaching, and then I would see what else would come up or what I would intentionally create. So the name Excavive. I took a designer and my best friend who's highly creative to a little cafe for breakfast one morning, and we sat there and brainstormed. They kept asking me, what do you want to reflect? What do you want this to be? And we came up with the name, and I've loved the name. I've had it 10 years and am not tired of it. So Excavive. You'll notice with my logo, I had the designer created a logo for me. You'll notice that little dot under the V, that little, that's actually representative of a pearl. And that pearl and that V, if you imagine that V is like a shovel, and that's, you dig down to get the treasure, to get the pearl. I love symbols and metaphors, and so I loved when my designer came up with the idea of using a pearl. If you think about pearl, it's really created from an irritation in an oyster shell. It's a little rock that gets in there, and it forms over time, and that's kind of how life is, if you think about it, that we have trials and challenges in our lifetime, and if we move through those challenges and we grow and learn, we become a better treasure of from ourselves. And so I loved the symbol of what that pearl represents. So as you can see, Excavive, that little pearl and dot, is representative of unearthing a treasure. My tagline, uncover your authentic self. I wanted to let people know that if you come to Excavive, this is all about getting to your truth. We're going to peel away the layers. We're going to take the mask off. So if you're not ready to play with that and not ready to face that, I'm probably not the right person for you, and my work is not the right person for you. So Excavive, and then having a tagline about uncovering your authentic self, and let people know right up front, this is what I'm up to. So that's the name Excavive and how that came about. The colors. Turquoise. I remember back when I did this 10 years ago, I think the big popular color was purple, and I kept thinking I wanted to use purple because I thought purple was a real rich, intense color. And I actually went to, I had taken a yoga class, and it was a chakra yoga meditation class, and they went through all the colors and what they symbolized. And I found out that turquoise represents your upper heart chakra. And what turquoise means is it symbolizes the things you love and the things you want to attract into your life, your personal preferences. And I thought, that's it. That's perfect. I love turquoise. It's soothing. It's peaceful. But it also brings the message of about bringing goodness into your life. So the only thing I said to my designer when we were creating this was, you've got to use the color turquoise, and whatever you want to do with that is great by me, but turquoise has to be used. I did not initially have these other colors that you see in front of you. I only recently added those about a year ago when I wanted to expand my branding. And then I had a designer. We came up with the standard colors. This is a brand standard sheet that I did create so that I can use any designer, whether it's a web designer, whether it is a graphic designer for printed materials. I want to make sure I have consistency in my brand at all times. So knowing what your standards are and the important aspects of this will help keep your brand consistent. One other thing I wanted to say about color, be really mindful of the colors you choose and what you're putting out there. For instance, if you want to project power, you might want to use red. If you want to express peacefulness and calmness, stability, you might choose blue. If you want to ignite creativity, you might use yellow. There is psychology to colors. In fact, I wrote a column titled Dream in Color. It's a chapter in my book that really talks about how different colors affect different people. So be mindful of what you're choosing out there for those colors. I think that's important. And the last thing I want to say about this, about my name and logo, symbols, color, is that I do use photographs in my branding. As you can see the ad on the left, the photograph of me, I think that photographs make it personal. It makes it inviting. They get to see who you are, and I think that's important too. So this authentic expression, this is the foundation for my expression and what I create out there. So our next step is around professional credibility. Wow, professional credibility, so important. Your branding, I remember when I became a coach that I would see out there so many people that would just write things on a memo sheet. People would just hand flyers they typed up. There was no design to it. I felt it was really important to everything that I put out there would create credibility for myself. In fact, in 2010, I was asked to write an article for the AdFed, the American Advertising Federation local chapter. This was in their magazine. And because I was known for my branding and that my branding is very consistent, I was actually asked to write an article on how to create your personal brand. And I found this so ironic because this was for people who create brands. This was for the professions out there that for ad agencies. And I thought, wow, you're the experts in this. But what they didn't realize, and the piece I was able to connect back to in this article, was around knowing yourself and that authenticity and finding your unique purpose. And the whole point that they were trying to say to each other is, or just the message they wanted to give to their members, is that you are a personal brand every time you walk out the door. Even though we create brands for other people, you're also a brand. So, you know, my branding led to some of that professional credibility. The biggest thing I want to say around this professional credibility is that your brand projects credibility, and that credibility is directly linked to the value you offer. I'm going to say that again. How you project your brand is a direct link to the value of what you offer. So if you have a very professional brand and people see that, it shows that you're worth the dollars you're going to ask for. It shows that you know what you're doing. It shows that you're a professional. It shows that you're credible. And quite frankly, it's going to allow you to command the dollars and the value of what you're offering. So what you put out there in the world is important to show excellence. This next screen, this is my business card. Life coach, speaker, writer. You see the logo. You've got the contact information. On the back, I am reinforcing my brand. The shell, this is an image that we used very early on, shows someone holding a treasure in their hands. So you can see that my business card, and that business card goes with me everywhere. It's very professional. On the left-hand side, these are my coaching forms and collateral materials. I created a template for all of my coaching exercises, my contracts, my letterhead, my thank yous. Everything is in alignment. Everything is consistent. And that credibility that is created from that professionalism allows me to cross all kinds of lines into corporations, into the individual people that hire me, into the highly creative areas. It's a really nice way to show confidence, and that's part of what this branding is about, is to show that you know what you're doing, you're confident, that there's excellence, that they're going to get excellence from you. So I love this quote I found on excellence. Excellence is the result of caring more than others think is wise, risking more than others think is safe, dreaming more than others think is practical, and expecting more than others think is possible. when you're out there doing what you do, there are a lot of naysayers. There are a lot of people that you may not always have that support in what you're doing. And when you're creating your branding and you're out there being who you are, I love this quote to remind you that excellence is a result of this. It's taking those risks when others say, ooh, I wouldn't do that. It's dreaming and it's seeing that you can grow who you are in your work to be bigger than you ever even thought was possible. So keep in mind that your branding is a form of excellence, and let your own value and your own excellence come through in what you're putting out there in the world. Our next way to create your brand is around the right client attraction. Carol, I so appreciated your introduction at the beginning of this in talking about why I started this business. Excavive Life Coaching. I originally called my company Excavive Life Coaching, and have only recently changed it to Excavive Coaching and Consulting so as to encompass all the other things I do as well. But Excavive Life Coaching was created as a way to empower people, especially women, to pursue their passions, to increase their self-confidence, and to build the kind of lives they truly want to live. That's my audience. So my brand is very feminine, yet strong and powerful. It appeals to the type of target I want to attract. It allows for spiritual growth, yet it allows for the creative people, but it also attracts professionals and companies. Again, my original intent was to work with women. I do work with some men, but for me to be who I am, I needed that creativity and feminine part to come through. So as you can see, this is actually sort of some of my ads that I ran in a local magazine called Underwired. I was actually hired, my designer who created my logo became the first design director of a new women's publication here in Louisville, Kentucky, which is where I am. And she was the design director for this magazine. And about a month after their first publication, the editor of the magazine publisher came to me and said, I really think I could use some coaching and have heard about you. I started working with her, and as part of that, I put advertising into the magazine. I want to say this, I wasn't sure that I believed that advertising was the right form for my coaching business. That was not something I was totally buying into. So I want to be really clear that I did not go spend thousands and thousands of dollars on advertising. But this opportunity presented itself that I was able to put ads into this publication with no cost because we traded that. And what was interesting about this kind of became a lab for me. I got to play with it and see, so does advertising attract the right client in a coaching business? Thinking coaching is all about those personal relationships. I wasn't sure an ad was really going to bring the right person to me, even though this was a women's publication and it was a beautiful, well-designed publication. So it was an experiment. The ad on your left, the one with the hands showing the shell, that was my very first ad that she designed for me. And as you can see at the bottom, I was able to offer my services to say, life coaching, and what that includes is personal growth, creative and passionate living, career enhancement, life transitions, effective communication, spiritual development. That was my very first ad. Back in 2004, and I think this ran probably about into 2004, 2005, coaching was still very new, especially in Kentucky, and people were always asking me, what is life coaching? What do I get from that? What do I do? What happens in coaching? This gave a little bit of a hint. It shows the brand. Of course, I always have the logo, my picture, hopefully friendly, inviting, and of course the way to reach me. At the bottom of that, savor your life through Excavive Life Coaching. I changed my tagline every month based on the theme of the magazine. So this was that standard ad. About a year later, I changed the ad. I wanted to freshen it. And as you can see on the far right-hand side, with the one with the pearls, I was tired of the image of the hands. I felt like we needed something fresh. I wanted to keep it simple, elegant. Again, you know, working with me, it was all about finding your treasures. So we had the image of the pearls, and again, listing my services. And then the ad in the middle was the latest one that I did, and this was for a workshop that I did on passion and about passion, Excavate a Passionate Life. You'll see in my materials I use the word excavate in my copy and my subtitles. That is a way in which I stay true to my brand. But again, I wanted to make sure that I had that brand and that has something new and fresh, a new photograph. The other thing that was very important in this is I included the fact that I took credit cards. I wanted to make it easy for people. So my ads were a way of, this is how they evolved, but it was a way for me to be very true to myself, very aligned with who I am. So the final...
They were beautiful, Jennifer. They are truly beautiful.
Thank you so much. And again, beauty is one of my highest values. So for me, in fact, I remember in my coach's training years ago that I remember I was in Chicago and we were doing some joint exercises, and one of my other classmates looked at me and said, Jennifer, it doesn't matter what you do and how you do this. All I want to say to you is you better make it pretty or you won't be happy. So I took it to heart, and I tell you, it's one of the driving forces that keeps me inspired in my business. Is I love to create beauty and put it out in the world. So it's fun for me. I don't feel like it's work, and again, it attracts the right person to me. It's a lot of fun. One of the funny little thing I'll mention here is in that center ad, as you can see, I've got a necklace on. It's not a great picture, it's not a close-up enough picture, but it's leather and pearls. So the leather kind of represents the earthiness, the grounded, down to earth, and the pearls are that elegance. And over the years I've worn them to speak, I've been photographed in them, and it's now actually one of my signatures out in the community, like, oh, you're the girl with the pearls. And people, they may not remember my name, but they will remember those pearls in the ads or in photographs. They go, you're that life coach. I'm like, yes, I am. Hoping that's a good thing. So
Good.
it's fun. So our next and final way in which you create your brand, and this is what I love about the brand, it's around expanding your platform. As you can tell, my brand is my playground for creativity. It inspires me, it lets me grow, it lets me try out new things, succeed, fail, play, get up, do it again. I love the fact that I have a brand, Excavive, a name, and I have all these little things that I get to play with it. Another one of my core values is spiritual excavation. And I believe that life is a journey and you never arrive. So as you peel back the layers of your life, as you grow, as you come more into yourself, and there's room for changing and a better you, this happens for me personally. It also happens with my brand. And Excavive was a very intentional name, an intentional name, but also with a lot of expansiveness and room to grow and to add more services. So Excavive is my umbrella, so to speak. I remember having a coaching session with my coach when I was trying to get my website done. And I did not have a website for the first 4 years of my business. I was intimidated by the technology, didn't know how I was going to get it done, and quite frankly, I didn't really need it a whole lot at first because I had created I attracted clients from being out in the world, saying who I was, and I was able to get started without it. When it came time to reprint a brochure, I did do a brochure initially, I didn't want to reprint a brochure, so that's when I got motivated to do my website. And in my coaching session, when I was complaining about I can't do it and I don't want to have to write it and all that, I do get a little nervous about my own creativity, although I love the creative part of myself. She said, well, what are the services you're offering? And at that point, I was starting to do speaking. I was doing some writing. It became very clear that that one piece of the umbrella, Excavive coaching, was now balanced with Excavive coaching, speaking, writing, products. So it could be each of those little buckets that I could then grow and build on. So it became my umbrella, and you can go to my website and see how that's lined up. So again, when I created Excavive, it's not just Excavive Life Coaching. It's Excavive that allows for coaching, speaking, writing, and products all to be put in there. So my first umbrella, and I'm going to go through each of these and show you some pieces that I've actually created to support my platform. So of course, Excavive Life Coaching, and I dropped the word life after a few years because there became so many specialties in the coaching world around, are you a career coach? Are you an executive coach? Are you a life transition coach? What kind of coach are you? And I decided I'm a whole life coach. You can hire me to enhance your career, to make a career change, to work on relationships, because I come from the perspective of wholeness first in balanced life. Coaching is coaching. It's just the entry point in. And interestingly enough, that certainly has been how I've grown it. So this first piece, Excavive, is Excavive Life Coaching right for you? I had an opportunity to put something in the goodie bags, you know, when you go to events, fundraising events, and they give you those goodie bags that allow you to put something in your business to a giveaway. And I had literally 48 hours to provide something and called my designer. I was actually in Lexington in meetings. I wasn't even in town. I wrote this, called her, and said, can you create this? We did this and got it printed in 48 hours. And this was a postcard that, it's about a 5x8 postcard that we used, and this has been extremely effective. I had a picture of me, again, the brand, the logo is on there, the contact information, my picture, and then basically, is this right for you? And I basically spoke to what is it, why would someone want to hire a coach? And it's right there. So you can see that this is why you might come to me, for this reason. I have had people, in fact, a client was here the other day who reminded me that she had been in an event that I had provided these for. She held onto this card a year before she called me, and then called me and said, I've got this card, I don't know how long it's good for, but will you still honor a 30-minute session because I'm interested in hiring you? And I said, absolutely. So this has been a very effective promotional postcard that I use. And I take it to speaking events as well. It's something I can put on a table or hand out to people if I'm speaking. So Excavive coaching, this is one of the pieces I use for that. The next part of my platform, about a year after I started coaching, I started getting asked to do speaking. And it was never my intent to be an inspirational speaker, but I was asked, I saw it as a way to get my message out there. I had been, prior to becoming a coach, my last big volunteer job was the president of the Junior League of Louisville, which is a big women's volunteer organization. And one of my intents for taking on that position was I was terrified of speaking. Terrified. That would be the last thing on this earth I would want to do. And a year of being president of an organization and having to get up every month and be in front of 100, 200 people at a time, I kind of got my sea legs, so to speak. I learned how to connect with my audience. I've also gone through some leadership training through CTI, the Coaches at Training Institute, and that leadership program really allowed me to understand my impact as a speaker. So I love speaking now. But in terms of my brand, I saw speaking, there were two reasons to speak. One was to either promote myself, it was a great marketing opportunity, or it was to impart information, or both. Speaking, I charge for speaking. I rarely do something without charging for it unless I think it's going to be a great marketing opportunity or it's an organization I really care about and I want to be of service and I want to be of service to the people that are in that organization. So because I asked to become a speaker or asked to speak at events, the first thing I created on, you can see, is my Excavive bookmark. I created this because I wanted to, no matter what I was talking on, I wanted to give people something that they could take away. And this bookmark was an opportunity to do that. I wanted to give them not just hire me as your coach, but I wanted to give them something that would remind them about something we talked about. And my 12 ways to excavate yourself are that they apply even from today's talk. At the end, you'll see there's a few of these points that I point out. So everybody gets a bookmark who hears me speak. They then hold on to that. Again, I have people later call me, hire me. I even have people say, do you have an extra one I can give to my daughter? She needs to know this information. The other thing I created was this Excavive speaker PDF. I heard a wonderful speaker and asked her to have coffee afterward. She was from Louisville, but she did speaking all over the country. And I said, will you meet with me? I want to become a better speaker, and I want to have a speaking business as part of what I do. Because I'm out there trying to empower women, I think it's important to go out there and share my thoughts, share this empowerment message that I had. And she said the first thing you need is they call it a one-sheeter in the speaking business. So she said, come up with your topics and come up with, has some testimonials on it. And you don't see it on this, but my speaker PDF here, on the front I have speaking topics. The other topics you can see in the corner, other topics I put in their descriptions, other topics. On the back of this sheet, I have a list of about 20 companies that have hired me to speak, and I have testimonials and ways in which you can contact me. So this is something I can email out. I have printed copies if people request that, but this has been really instrumental in helping me to give people ideas of what we can talk about. Every single topic I speak on is customized, but this gives people an idea. Again, it shows them I'm in the speaking business, and it's a very credible piece. This is also on my website. If you wanted to see the full copy of it, you can go to www.excavive.com, which ought to be up, and under the speaking umbrella piece of that, and this full PDF is on there as well. My next topic, or my next umbrella, is around writing. Again, I started off as coach, then I got asked to speak, and as I mentioned about this magazine, Underwired Magazine, and the ads that I was placing, about 6 months into my arrangement and coaching, my editor came to me and said, would you be interested in creating a column? And my heart stopped, and I was like, oh my goodness, I would love to do this. I'd always wanted to write and have my column, have something where I could put these messages out there. And she came to me and said, create what you want. And, wow, what an amazing opportunity. Her only criteria was, please stay in the theme. Every month the magazine had a theme. Stay on topic of the theme, but otherwise it's yours. So my formatting was I created the topic, the beginning of the column. The top of it is I give an information, I give a perspective, I give a helpful list in the middle, and then I have coaching questions at the end. I wanted to draw people in. But in terms of my brand, as you can see, the turquoise color, the designer, even though I really have no say in the design, this is their magazine, I simply am giving them the usage of my work for that month's issue. She did understand the importance of my brand, so she put the turquoise title in there. Again, I got a picture at the bottom. I describe, if you can't read it on this, but I have my name and contact information. I also one of the things I insisted upon was I always put the copyright, Jennifer M. Blair, whatever year it was published. So my name is prominently shown. So I stayed within the brand and the criteria in which I really needed to make that happen. And this writing became a great platform for me. I published 69 columns before the magazine closed its doors at the end of last year. So this was something I was very, very proud of. I attracted, in almost 6 years of writing, I attracted hundreds of clients from this writing, from just this one platform, and I'm very, very grateful to that. Last year I decided to take those columns and I published my first book, The True You, Tools to Excavate, Explore, and Evolve. And this is a compilation of the first 53 of my columns. As you can see, this is my book cover. And when I was working, this is self-published, when I worked with the publishing company, I asked them to stay within my brand. But I did not get to have a conversation with the book designer, and I know that there are certain standards and things that certain types of parameters in the psychology for designing a book. I left that up to them. I just asked that my logo be on there. They try to incorporate my colors, and I sent them a ton of materials for the designer to review and to actually see my brand, and I thought they did a fabulous job of keeping my brand intact. I will tell you that the intent for this book was a marketing piece. I wanted to have something to sell at the back of the room for speaking engagements. This increased my credibility, and this opened the door for passive income. A real quick example of how this worked was I had a potential client, or a client, then became client, with a company that contacted me because of my column and wanted to know about what types of things I would offer in terms of training and speaking. And I had conversations with them for a few months. Well, they ended up hiring me to coach someone in their organization. That woman then, it was around the time my book was being published, she came to my book launch, brought another coworker. She then bought 70 books for her employees in her company, which then led to a retreat, which I did a 2-day retreat for all the team leaders. This is a dental corporation, actually, have dental offices in 7 states. So I did a retreat, and this was a retreat for their team leaders so they could learn how to be more authentically themselves at work. So I designed this. That then led to another individual hiring me, and then another big corporate contract only a month ago actually. So this one product led to thousands and thousands of dollars and lots of new opportunities, and stayed on task with reaching the people that I wanted to reach. So this was a great tool. My next product, that is my newest product that you are hearing about today, actually for the first time, is that over the years I created lots and lots of coaching exercises and coaching tools, business forms, questionnaires, informational sheets when I would speak about excavating peace and serenity, excavating your time and your voice, and giving empowerment tips on some of the more prominent themes that I saw in my practice. And then, as you can see on the right-hand side, a multitude of coaching exercises, not just a wheel of life, but also a wheel of relationships, a wheel of career, a goal-setting exercise, an action item, a boundaries exercise. So I have created 34 coaching tools that I use that I am now offering up as a new product. So for you today, I am offering my Excavive coaching tools in a downloadable package, as well as some creativity consulting and one-on-one coaching. I think it's a really exciting product and a way to support. I get hired to coach coaches and to mentor them and how to build their businesses, along with all the women out there that I get to also connect with. So this is a new product that I'm offering for you today. You can go to this link, and the first option is if you just want to buy my coaching tools, you'll get a download, a zip file with all of these exercises, 34 exercises plus a couple of bonus things that are in that packet. And it's $147, and you get the tools, and you can just use them as they are. They are interactive. In other words, every single questionnaire and exercise is a PDF that your client can fill out on the computer and send back to you. So it is all electronic. No paper is even needed for this. The second option is the tools, a copy of my book, and some creativity consulting and coaching, and that's $297. But I want to come back and recap this brand before we close here very shortly. And again, excavate your authentic self as a way to create your brand. And the 5 ways are: be true to who you are with your values, authentically express who you are, express those values and who you are, have professional credibility, and make sure your brand is really, really tight and beautiful and projects the image you want it to. Attract the right clients. By putting out the brand that's really who you are, you're going to bring the people you want into your world, whether it's big corporations or it is artists and creative people, whoever are your people, moms, or if they're executives. This is going to brand yourself so that you attract the right person. And then finally, make sure your brand allows you to expand who you are and expand your services as you grow and evolve your business. So my final tips on authentic branding: use professionals and trust your preferences. Make sure that you trust yourself in this process. If a designer or a writer comes up with something that doesn't sound like you or you don't like it, speak up. This is your brand. But use professionals and make sure that it's designed and it works well and it can transcend multiple types of media, whether it's print, the web, social media. Make sure it transcends all that, and the professional can help you do that. Love your brand and consistently create materials that support your purpose. Use your name, your company, and your contact information on everything. There's not a single piece of paper that goes out of my office into the hands of another without that information on there. I want them to know not only who I am, but to, again, the name Excavive. It invites a conversation. It helps them remember. And then they got to know how to get a hold of me. That's important, so they know how to contact me. Protect your creations. Copyright your trade and trademark your work. All of my material is copywritten. It's trademarked. And when I do partnerships and collaborations, I ask to see those. First of all, I make sure that I always own my work. I keep the ownership of that. And I ask to see any promotions and make sure that my logo has been used properly and that the right colors, and that whatever they've created, that I'm proud to reflect that as well. And my last tip is just make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. So again, my offer, you can go onto the website here and log on. The first option is just if you want some very professional tools, some creative new coaching exercises, you've got the tools and a packet of 34 tools ready to use for your business, especially if you're just starting out. It took me 9 years to create all of these, a very long time of I would coach someone and they would be struggling with how to make a decision, so I came up with an exercise on making empowered choices. Someone was really struggling with their energy really dropping in the presence of others, so I created an exercise on excavating your energy to be mindful. So a lot of the concepts we use in our practices and in the work that we do, whether you're a coach or a trainer, if you work with people, the coaching tools can work for you. And then the second option is to be able to have those tools to get a book that's autographed by me that will be sent I will autograph it. I'll send you a bookmark, and then you'll also get a coaching session to talk about your brand and what you're creating. And it's a consulting coaching type session as well. So, final word on being authentic: live your values, practice extreme self-care, love what you do, be fierce for your work, create inspired actions, trust yourself, walk the talk, and seize every opportunity to share what you do because someone is waiting for you to show up. Many of these tips are on my bookmark, by the way. So that is my conclusion today on excavating your authentic self and the 5 ways to create your brand. As you can see on the screen, there's a way to reach me through my website, through my email, through my phone number. Please, if you have any questions, any thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out, call me, email me, and again, I want to thank Carol and thank Practice Pay Solutions for this opportunity to share what I've learned over the years about branding and creativity and beauty. So thank you so much for today.
Oh, Jennifer, thank you. There was some great value in there and just some inspiring messages about how to put together everything that sort of reflects us. Brilliant, brilliant pieces. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank everyone in the audience for listening and invite you to take up the offer that Jennifer has generously provided for us, just to really tune your brand and to have it really reflect your authentic self. So thank you, Jennifer, and on behalf of Practice Pay Solutions, thank you for listening.